This is the newsroom for Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021. We're broadcasting to you on E1, Scar TV, NTN, and Tarsi TV in Bartica. In the headlines, GECOM's Chief Elections Officer, Keith Lowenfield, his deputy, Roxanne Myers, and returning officer Clement Mingo are sent on leave, but will still receive their monthly salaries. Leader of the PNCR, David Granger, has served his time, but the time for change is now, says recently resigned member Tandai McAllister.
I am at peace with that decision. I am living my truth.
3 men who were charged with the brazen attempted robbery of Republic Bank are set free by the court. 3 Region 9 villages have been placed on dusk to dawn curfew. And in sport, Golden Jaguars named 23-man squad for clash against Guatemala, and local athletes eye improvement after successful senior national championship. With the news, I'm Fariza Hanif. We're glad you can join us. After more than a year of calls for 3 senior functionaries at the Guyana Elections Commission GECOM accused of electoral fraud to be sent home, a Tuesday meeting of the commission ended with the GECOM chairman, Justice Retired Claudette Singh, taking a decision to have them give up access to their offices and proceed on vacation leave. Kurt Campbell has our story.
The newsroom understands that the embattled Guyana Chief Elections Commission GECOM officials, Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield, his deputy Roxanne Myers, and District 4 returning officer Clement Mingo are to hand over all state properties by Friday and proceed on vacation leave while the commission continues to discuss their dismissal. The trio will, however, still receive a monthly salary until GECOM concludes its investigations and make a decision on their further employment with the entity. According to government-nominated Commissioner Bibi Shadiq, who along with her 2 other colleagues had moved the motions for their dismissals, Lowenfield, Myers and Mingo will have to hand over all state property, including their vehicles.
They are all to hand over by Friday, and no more. They mustn't come back on Monday. And then decisions are going to be taken as to who we're going to put in charge during this week to act on stuff. These are going to go now. They're not going to come back. I'm going to tell you that.
But a statement from GECOM noted that the trio will proceed on vacation leave effective Monday, June 28, 2021. The CEO will proceed on 42 days annual leave, the DCEO will be on 120 days leave, and Mingo will be on 35 days leave. The Commission says it intends to conclude the ongoing discussions for the dismissal within the shortest possible time. Shadiq, during the telephone interview, said the substantial debate and the motion to have them dismissed has not concluded because the 3 opposition-nominated commissioners are calling for an independent tribunal.
You see, Alexander is arguing that our motions are asking for summary dismissal. Our motions are asking for summary dismissal and not termination as per contract. Now, I know what they dismiss, they don't have any benefits to get. If they are terminated, they go home with plenty money. So, and they want an independent tribunal because I said, well, okay, we're evenly matched. We are biased against and you all are biased for, so therefore we're evenly matched. We can do, whatever. But anyhow, the chairman said we will decide on this tribunal business because she listened to so many things, It's a trial for that woman,
While noting that she was against the call for an independent tribunal, Shadiq said the situation has become a trial for the GECOM chairman. Persons have long called for the removal of Lowenfield, Myers and Mingo, with the government indicating that it does not intend to go to another election with them there. The 3 are currently facing several charges in local courts related to electoral fraud. For the newsroom, Kurt Campbell.
In her first interview since resigning from the People's National Congress Reform, Attorney-at-Law Tandai McAllister has further explained the chain of events that led to her decision amid a call for a shake-up in the leadership of the party that would see the removal of former President David Granger from the helm. Here's Kurt Campbell again.
Exactly 1 week after withdrawing her membership from the People's National Congress Reform, PNCR, Attorney-at-Law Tandai McAllister maintains that her upset is with the current leadership of the party, where former President David Granger sits at the helm. Granger had led the PNCR and the wider APNU-AFC coalition into the March 2020 election, an election he lost after a mere 5 years in government. And while McAllister is grateful for his leadership, she believes it is time for change.
I believe that the former president has served his time, and perhaps he has served well when it was most needed. He provided a catalyst for change, and I earnestly believe that change should have taken place quite a while.
Change in leadership.
Change in leadership, yes.
Granger has faced a bombardment of public criticism over his leadership of the coalition since his defeat at the 2020 polls. And although McAllister's three-line resignation letter proffered no explanation, she claims to have always been vocal about her concerns throughout her more than 25 years of service to the PNCR, and especially during her final days. Asked to who and at what level she sought to address her concerns, McAllister reminded that up to her time of resignation, she sat on the Central Executive Committee of the party.
The formulation of the decision, was quite a while, so I've had ample time to process, to deal with the emotions, and it was a difficult journey, I must tell you that. But I am at peace with that decision. I am living my truth. My conscience is cleared, and I believe that for the short period that I've been a political activist and a youth activist, that I have given of my best. I've given up my best years.
McAllister, who bore no feelings of regret or shame to resign from the PNCR, explained that it was a building block effect that motivated her to take action. McAllister also served as the former chairman of the Guyana Youth and Student Movement, the youth arm of the PNCR, and chairman of the Region 3. She revealed that her decision to leave the party was formulating for quite a while, but only operationalized last week, although not directly related to the latest decision by Granger to admit two newly formed parties, Guyana Nation Builders Movement and the Equal Rights and Justice Party, to the wider APNU coalition without consultation. She said she held off on leaving for a long time because she thought it was best to give the party a fair chance to align herself in the direction it was being led.
And I just couldn't. I found that the leadership, the current leadership, is not the best suited for the party. And it really does not take into consideration the best interests of its membership, of its support base. And I've also found that the interests of youth are not fully advanced.
She believes that she has given her best years to the PNCR in political and youth activism. McAllister admitted in the interview that she campaigned with the party in the run-up to the March 2020 elections while battling internal issues. She intends now to focus on her career as a lawyer and maritime professional. She believes she can continue to give back to society outside of a political institution or politics. And with her family having a long history of support and membership in the PNCR, McAllister has assured that they have been surprisingly supportive of her decision to withdraw her membership.
I am grateful, and I will remain grateful for their embrace and for their support and for their respect of my decision.
She also has a message for the youth who remain as servants to the party.
I also encourage them to live their truth.
4 years after the attempted armed robbery of Republic Bank on Water Street, Georgetown, 3 men were on Tuesday freed of the charges by City Magistrate Leron Daly. Ex-police constable Anthony Blackman of Lang Avenue, West Rhineville, Georgetown, former Republic Bank employee Sean Grimman of Pike Street, Kitty, and ex-rural constable Gladstone George of Princess Street, Lodge, were freed after the magistrate upheld a no-case submission made by their lawyer Leslie Sobers, Roger Yearwood, and Dexter Todd. The magistrate agreed with the defense that the state failed to make out a case against the men. However, their co-accused, Kieran Saunders, was not as lucky. The magistrate did not agree with his no-case submission and instead called on him to lead his defense on July 8. When the case was first called in 2017, former Republic Bank employee Jamal Haynes, 28, of Norton Street, Wortmanville, Georgetown, pleaded guilty and was jailed for 6 years by Chief Magistrate Ann McLennan. George and Blackman, at the time, were constables attached to the Guyana Police Force. The two allegedly aided the robbery attempt by providing firearms. It was reported that on the morning of July 4, 2017, 3 armed men entered the bank before it was opened to the public. Haynes and his alleged accomplices, Elton Ray and Saunders, had reportedly planned on getting their hands on the night's deposits since it was a 3-day weekend in the chest during the robbery. He died the same day while receiving medical attention. 5 days after the Guyana government claimed that 10 Haitian juvenile nationals were found at its Keldon Quarantine Barbies Hotel under the suspicion of being trafficked, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandalal now says that authorities have verified that the men and 5 women are all adults and above the age of 18. Nandalal explained that at the care of the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, they have been in constant engagements with the police as efforts are ramped up to arrest the suspected traffickers who brought the Haitians illegally into Guyana belongings.
They turned out not to be children. They are over 18. We made a decision to keep them at the Hugo Chavez now in relation to the personal documents. The police have taken detailed statements from them. Up to last night, they were being interrogated by the police. I haven't received that update as yet.
Asked about the intention of the enablers, the Attorney General told the newsroom that from all indications, it is human trafficking. To this end, he said the government will do what it must to curb this. Still ahead in the newsroom, 3 Region 9 villages have been placed on dusk to dawn curfew, and President Ali seeks the help of the Islamic Development Bank in his flood relief efforts. President Irfan Ali Tuesday morning held a virtual engagement with the President of the Islamic Development Bank, Dr. Bandar Hajar, and his team to discuss intervention measures and the bank's support in the wake of the recent floods across Guyana. A statement from the Office of the President noted that the head of state said he discussed the need for aid to farmers to restore their productive capacity, support for drainage and irrigation initiatives, and further strengthen the national drainage system. Discussions also centered on assistance for the affected hinterland and riverine areas. These areas, the President explained, depend predominantly on the mining and forestry sectors. Other critical interventions identified were the restoration of river dams, hinterland roads and bridges, many of which were destroyed and remain submerged. The President of the Islamic Bank also assured that no effort would be spared to support Guyana's rebuilding efforts and enable more resilient infrastructure. Dr. Hajar added that a technical team will be in contact with Guyanese officials to develop the response mechanism and to mobilize resources needed under these very urgent circumstances. We tell you now that authorities in Region 9, Upper Takutu, Upper Essequibo were forced to implement a 6 hours to 18 hours curfew for 3 villages due to the high number of COVID-19 infections recorded over the past few days. According to the notice seen by the newsroom, the curfew is in effect for St. Ignatius, Kumu, and Quarry. Winston Laurentino, the Tashao of St. Ignatius, confirmed with the newsroom during a telephone interview on Tuesday that the curfew became enforced on Monday and will run up to July 5th. He's hopeful that by that time, the COVID-19 cases in the villages would be reduced. According to the notice, shops in the villages are mandated to be closed by 18 hours, and no one is allowed to be seen loitering on the roadways or street corners. Moreover, the notice said that non-villagers entering St. Ignatius, Kumu, and Quarry need to seek permission from the village council before doing so. The St. Ignatius COVID-19 Task Force and the community policing will be monitoring the situation to ensure that villagers adhere to the measures in place.
Well, because the COVID is very, very high in St. Ignatius, so we decided to go 6 to 6, the village council. We had meetings with the business community, I could say, St. Ignatius, and everybody agreed that we have for 2 weeks just to see it drop. Just for 2 weeks.
Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony on Tuesday confirmed that several persons from countries across the Caribbean community CARICOM have been vaccinated in Guyana. While he did not provide a specific number for foreigners who were vaccinated here, he said Guyana always had an open policy, one that did not require persons to prove their citizenship before being vaccinated. Dr. Anthony was speaking during his daily COVID-19 update on Tuesday. He said the Trinidad-based Caribbean Airlines had written to him asking that the Ministry of Health assist with the vaccination of its staff.
We did receive a letter from the airlines to ask us whether or not we can assist with vaccination of their staff, and we agreed. So we have been working when the staff come into one of our vaccination sites, we'll provide the vaccines for them. We have basically a very open policy, so we don't check to see which nationality you are before you can get a vaccine, and so our policy has been very open, and I think a number of Caribbean nationals who are here in Guyana would have benefited from the vaccination program. For us to achieve herd immunity, it means that the people who are here should get vaccinated, and so if they're residing in Guyana, then we don't have a problem giving them the vaccine.
On Tuesday, the health minister said approximately 228,337 people have received their first dose of a COVID-19 vaccine in Guyana. This, he said, accounts for just about 49.9% of the country's adult population, while just about 99,764 people have received their second dose of the vaccines. That is approximately 20% of the adult population and just about half of the persons who have received their first dose. When the newsroom returns, over 5,000 Venezuelan migrants in Guyana received help in 2020. Back, you're watching the newsroom. The National Drainage and Irrigation Authority will soon begin dredging in the Mahaika and Maikoni Creeks in Region 5 to aid the drainage of floodwaters to bring relief to residents who have been inundated for the past weeks. Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa told the newsroom on Monday that there have been reports of floodwaters receding countrywide. However, some areas still remain a concern. Here is Shakima Day.
Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa told the newsroom on Monday that Region 5 residents currently affected by flooding will soon get more relief, as the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority is set to dredge both the Mahaika and Maikoni creeks to help floodwaters drain off the land.
We have made intervention to dredge the creek. We have already dredged the mouth of the Abari Creek, and we are now in the Maikoni Creek. I am looking to take a dredge into the Abari Creek to dredge upriver, so that we can have more depth of the river, and that will be a continuous process. And we'll also extend that facility to the Mahaika Creek. So that will be, we'll constantly do that.
According to the minister, as with other areas across the country, not much can be done until the water levels in both creeks decrease. This is why the option was taken to dredge them both. Providing an update on the flooding countrywide, Mustafa said that they have seen favorable results in the hard-hit areas in regions 1, 2, 3, 9, and 10. However, still of concern is the Region 6 area, more particularly Port Morant.
In the Blackbush Polder area, the 5274, the Central Quarantine area, water have receded tremendously. I don't think that any residents are underwater now for those areas. My concern is about the Port Morant area, the Anchorville area, still have high water level there, but those waters are coming from the cane cultivation from Gaisuko. And we are monitoring the situation there. As a matter of fact, we have placed pumps to boost the Gaisuko pumping facility, and also we have placed tractor-driven pumps in the housing area at Port Morant so that water would not accumulate in residents' yard and things like that.
This year's seasonal flooding has been hard-hitting, with over 6,000 households being impacted. People's crops, livestock, and other infrastructure have been damaged. An economic cost of the nationwide flooding has thus far yet to be determined, but however, a socio-economic assessment would be done when the disaster is managed and has ended. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Shakima Day.
For 2020 alone, more than 5,000 refugees from Venezuela who were forced to seek out a better life elsewhere turned to Ghana for help, and the number continues to climb. This year's World Refugee Day celebration in Guyana shed some light on the Venezuelan migrant crisis. The director of HIAS Guyana, the Jewish-American nonprofit organization that provides humanitarian aid and assistance to refugees, outlined that all refugees need are access to the rights and opportunity to live freely so that they can rebuild their lives and thrive. Shakima Day has her story.
The Venezuelan migrant crisis has become the second largest displacement event in the world, with a staggering 4.6 million people leaving their home country due to a lack of security and basic rights. There have never been more people seeking safety, and so few places are willing to protect and welcome nearly 80 million people who are fleeing persecution. Globally, at least 1% of the world's entire population are no longer able to reside in their homes and their communities. And the challenges are even greater as they are compounded with the COVID-19 pandemic and all of the economic impacts it has created. Guyana Through Highest, the Jewish American nonprofit organization that has provided humanitarian aid and assistance to refugees, has been playing its part to ensure the refugees are given the chance to start over. At the World Refugee Day celebrations at the Herdsmanston Lodge on Tuesday, Highest's country director Alex Turan highlighted that for 2020 alone, more than 5,000 Venezuelan refugees have received support from this organization.
This year's theme for World Refugee Day is Together We Heal, Learn, and Shine. Refugees are resilient. Some can succeed on their own. Some need a little help. Others need more intensive assistance. All refugees, when given access to the rights and opportunities to live, work, and learn in safety and freedom, can rebuild their lives and thrive.
U.S. Ambassador to Guyana Sarah Ann Lynch applauded Guyana's efforts in the crisis, as it did not shut its doors to the migrants despite the strain on the country's security, health, education, and economy.
The government of Guyana's close coordination with UN agencies on assistance and studies regarding migration flows are vital and will better inform Guyana's migration policy. And as Guyana's economic transformation begins to draw people from around the globe, we look forward to continuing this work together, ensuring that those fleeing from crisis are safe and that sustainable migration policies are in place.
At the celebration, the audience also heard from two Venezuelan women, Sabrina Flores and Gina Carr Amaze, who moved to Guyana to seek out better lives for their families. Because of the language difference, the remarks were translated.
It took me 10 days to get here. In the crossing, we ate fish because we were also fishing. We had sun and we had rain. There were coast guards and we hid so as not to be caught. We felt like fugitives or criminals. I'm an engineer, a professional who has not been asked how she felt until today. Gina Carr shares, undoubtedly, the refugee's life away from home is not easy. Sometimes we encounter obstacles that make the process of adaptation quite complicated. Fortunately, in each country, there are organizations and institutions that watch over and protect the welfare of those people who, for one reason or another, have to be in the place of a refugee.
This year, World Refugee Day is celebrated under the theme, Together We Feel, Learn and Shine. Reporting for the Newsroom, Shakima Day.
An accident between two boats in the Essequibo River on Monday claimed the life of 87-year-old Richard Bowens, a pensioner of Carroll Village, Essequibo River. A police report noted that the accident occurred at around 10:45 near the Bartica Stelling. According to the report, boat captain, 50-year-old Jules Benjamin, was plying the Bartica to Perica route. He left Perica with 23 passengers, and as he neared his destination, he saw a small wooden boat which was powered by a 15 HP outboard engine about 700 meters in front of him, also heading to Bartica. Benjamin claimed that as he reached closer to the boat, Bowens suddenly changed his course and collided with his boat. The impact caused Bowens' engine to fall off the stern and into the water. A nearby boat then rendered assistance and took the injured Bowens to the Bartica Hospital, where he died while receiving treatment. Benjamin is in custody, assisting with the investigation. When the newsroom returns to financial, weather, and bridge reports, along with sport news with Avinash Ramzan. That's it for me, Fariza Hanif.
Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We start things off with some football news. The head coach, Marcio Maximo, has finalized his 23-man Golden Jaguars squad to face Guatemala in the CONCACAF Gold Cup prelims on July 3 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Maximo's men would look to shake off the disappointment of the World Cup qualifiers when they face the Central American nation in the crunch encounter. After the disappointment of not making it past the first round of the 2022 World Cup qualifiers, Marcio Maximo would look to rally his men in the Gold Cup prelims with the hope of changing the team's fortune. To bring about that change, Maximo has named a 23-man squad that comprises a mixture of local and overseas-based national players. The squad reads goalkeepers Akel Clark, Kai Mackenzie Lyle and Sean Adonis, defenders Marcus Wilson, Matthew Briggs, Liam Gordon, Terence Van Kooten, Nikolai Andrews, Reese Greenwich and Kevin Lane. The midfielders are Nathan Moriah Welsh, Javier George, Daniel Wilson, Job Caesar, Curtis Kellman and Stephen Duke McKenna. The forwards are Connor Coran Brown, Keanu Marsh Brown, Omari Glasgow, Kelsey Benjamin, Sheldon Holder, Treon Bob and Emery Welshman. The winner of this first-round qualification fixture will play either Guadeloupe or the Bahamas on July 6 for a place in the 2021 CONCACAF Gold Cup final competition. The 2021 Gold Cup takes place between July 10 and August 1 at various venues across the United States. All remaining players in Guyana's 60-man provisional tournament squad list will be placed on standby. President of the Guyana Football Federation, Wayne Ford, while expecting an uphill task against Guatemala, is optimistic about Guyana's chances of moving beyond this opening game.
Well, it's easy to conclude that in terms of the draw, we've had the toughest possible luck within our region because as we all know, we opened up the 2019 campaign against the defending champion and arguably the second strongest team in the Confederation. And I think, our performance was credible as it was throughout the tournament. Having to work our way through Guatemala to get to the round of 16 is also going to be an uphill task. But I think we have to maintain belief in the players, in the team. Like I said also in my statement, we were hoping for more momentum going into this fixture. It was not to be, but we have to remain positive and hope that they can take the time to really analyze the opponent, to do their own introspection, to see where we can do more and do better, and go out there to represent.
The draw for the prelims involved the 12 national teams, which earned a place in the Gold Cup qualifiers through their performances in the CONCACAF Nations League group stage, which was played between September and November 2019. This includes the bottom-placed finishes in League A groups, the runners-up in League B groups, and the winners of League C groups. The top 6 teams based on the CONCACAF rankings were preceded into matchups 1 through 6, and the next 6 were drawn from a single pot. The prelim games are Haiti versus St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Guatemala versus Guyana, Trinidad versus Montserrat, Cuba versus French Guyana, Guadeloupe versus the Bahamas, and Bermuda versus Barbados. After direct elimination play over 3 match days between July 2 to July 6, 2021, the 12 teams will be reduced to a final 3 who would qualify for the Gold Cup group stage. Based on the draw, should Guyana beat Guatemala, they would go on to face either Guadeloupe or the Bahamas. If they win that second contest, they will qualify in Group C. Cricket news now. Craig Bradford, the West Indies Test captain, felt that bad habits and a lack of fight by the batsmen are proving to be their undoing. His comments came on the heels of another batting collapse, which resulted in a series loss for the Caribbean side. Akim Green reports.
In the first test, West Indies were bowled out for 97 in their first innings, and in the chase of 324 in the second innings, they were at one stage 107 for 3. Opener Kyron Powell played a needless shot on 5th one, which was the first wicket in spinner Kavish Maharaj hat-trick, which started the slide. In 4 innings in the series, West Indies did not surpass 165.
We were disappointing, but, we promised as batsmen to, we have some time, back home, obviously, to work on different stuff, and we got to come back and show that fight. Because, sometimes it's not all about winning, but, still you want to see, the fight, and we didn't show the fans the fight at all. So, from myself included, we got to come back better and make the fans proud.
Starting the day 15 without loss, West Indies needed 309 more to level the series, but made 165 all out in 58.3 overs. Their first innings of 149 was in response to South Africa's 298 and it lasted just 54 overs.
It's not easy. And, in a test match, obviously, there's some periods, that you look at, that as batsman, you have to get better at. But, if I could speak for myself, obviously look at my dismissals, and I know, sometimes you get into bad habits as batsman. So, it's to steal to that bad habit as much as possible. But, I think what will be good, obviously, is to obviously work on some technical stuff. And, when you do come back, you're back at 100%. And, along with doing it well, that will give you some confidence, as more often you do it. But I think the key is that you got to trust it. And I think that's where we got to get to. We work on different stuff, and we back at 100%. I think that's the key. We just gotta believe we could do the job, and I think that belief would help to bring more consistency.
Since their 2-1 series win in 2019 against England, West Indies are still searching for another home series success. They lost to India 2-0, drew with Sri Lanka 0-0, and now lost to the Porteous 2-0. Brathwaite, who was appointed full-time captain for the Sri Lanka series, indicated it continues to be a learning experience and noted they cannot win all series but still need to show fight as batsmen.
Well, I think in the 3 series thus far, we learned a lot. And also we won 1, draw 1, and lost 1 up to this stage. And I think it's very important that we learn from this series. Obviously, I think the main thing is really batting. And we as a team, we knew where we fell short. I mean, we were magnificent in the field, from taking catches to the bowling unit. But, the batting let ourselves down. And obviously, we could look at different dismissals as batsmen. And I think we got to learn from them. That's the key. But, as I say, you can't win all. But obviously, you still want to be showing fight and showing determination, as batters, which we didn't. So I think it's still a learning process. Obviously, still a number of young guys, some guys now coming back in. But I don't want to use that as an excuse. We got to come better, and we got a few weeks to get ourselves in order.
From August 12th, they will play Pakistan, who are currently ranked 5th in 2 tests at Sabina Park, Jamaica. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
Meanwhile, West Indies have been fined 60% of their match fee and penalized 6 ICC World Test Championship points for maintaining a slow over rate against South Africa in the 2nd test in St. Lucia. Richie Richardson of the Emirates ICC Elite Panel of Match Referees imposed the sanction after Craig Braffett's side was ruled to be 3 overs short of the target after time allowances were taken into consideration. In accordance with Article 2.22 of the ICC Code of Conduct for players and player support personnel, which relates to minimum overrate offences, players are fined 20% of their match fees for every over their side fails to bowl in the allotted time. In addition, as per the ICC World Test Championship playing conditions, a side is penalised 2 points for each over short. Consequently, 6 World Test Championship points have been deducted from the West Indies points total. Braffett pleaded guilty to the offence and accepted the proposed sanction, so there was no need for a formal hearing. On-field umpires Joel Wilson and Gregory Braffett, 3rd umpire Leslie Reefer, and the 4th umpire Nigel Duguid levelled the charge. Meanwhile, all 4 results remain possible in the final of the World Test Championship after an engrossing 5th day between India and New Zealand in Southampton. India closed on 64 for 2, leading by 32, meaning the test will go into a 6th and final day because of the time lost to the weather earlier in the match. Earlier, New Zealand ground out a first innings lead of 32 by turning their overnight 101 for 2 into 249 all out. Up against high-class fast bowling, Captain Kane Williamson dug in for 49 from 177 balls, while Kyle Jamieson 21 and Tim Southey 30 added important cameos. Southey then trapped Shubman Gill leg before for 8 early in India's 2nd innings and dismissed his opening partner Rohit Sharma in the same manner 15 minutes before the close when he horribly misjudged a leave and fell leg before, offering no shot for 30. It leaves New Zealand as the most likely winners if they can bowl out India on the reserve day and leave themselves enough time to chase a target. Now, the Senior National Athletics Championship concluded on Sunday at Lenora, and there were some impressive performances by some of Guyana's top track and field athletes who expressed that they want to keep improving. Akim Green spoke to a few of those athletes.
Emmanuel Archibald won the 100 meter in a win-assisted time of 10:18 seconds, his fastest time of the season, and a long jump with a best leap of 782 meters. His long jump success was not on par with the impressive performances earlier in the year, where the national record holder had a world-leading jump of 810 meters. There is a high probability that the 26-year-old will attend next month's Olympic Games in Tokyo even if he does not achieve the entry standard in his 2 PET events by June 29. It is expected to be based on his world rankings among other factors. This weekend, he is planning to attend a meet in the Bahamas to still push for that entry standard time.
I'm very contented with this weekend. I basically came to win. The goal actually was to win, get a ranking points, and then prepare to next week meet, which is going to be in Bahamas, which is better atmosphere, faster track and such forth. The goal is to train at home. Basically, I have gained weight, which has affected both the 100 and the long jump, especially the long jump. So basically to lose 6 to 7 pounds in the next 2 weeks to prepare to the game. Getting the entry standard is great, which I should get next week. But the focus is, if I'm going, the focus is to be my best at the games. I just don't want to go and participate. I want to be in the finals in both events.
Meanwhile, Daniel Williams looked impressive on his return to the track as he comfortably won the 200 meter in a time of 21.06 seconds. A 21-year-old on a scholarship at Hines University in the United States of America expressed he is just happy to be back on the track after recovering from numerous injuries and is looking forward to the upcoming season.
I think we all did, but yeah, it's good to be back.
Look, some quality competition on Nolex Solder, Akeem Stewart. What was your game plan heading into this final year?
Just not get injured, to be honest. Yeah, this all this is.
Looking ahead, how you feel this performance fits for the next season? A lot of big events next year.
Well, I'll be transferring to Clemson next season, so just looking forward to starting over there, building a new body, and see where we go from there.
Additionally, Shantoba Bright, who's also on scholarship in the United States, produced a personal best in the triple jump of 1353 meters and won the long jump as well, all achieved with a nagging toe injury. She's expected to go into full recovery mode as she leaves Guyana on Wednesday to return to the States. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
And as part of efforts to increase the popularity of the sport here, the Guyana Badminton Association has taken the Shuttle Time project to Linden, specifically introducing it to the Mackenzie High School and the Christianberg Wisma Secondary School. A team comprising President of the GBA, Gokan Ramdani, Vice President Ayana Watson, and Secretary Emilia Ramdani accompanied national and international champions Narayan and Priyana Ramdani as the association took its development initiative to Region 10. Just recently, the GBA conducted a similar program in Berbice, targeting students at the New Amsterdam Multilateral Secondary and the Berbice High School. Shuttle Time was introduced in Guyana in 2017, with the target group being primary and secondary school teachers, with the aim being to introduce children aged 5 to 15 to badminton. While in Linden, the team presented Shuttle Time kits of rackets, shuttlecocks and nets to the two schools to ensure the game is played there. Guyana's top badminton players Narayan and Priyana Ramdani also made their personal presentation of 11 rackets to the potential players of both schools to encourage them to play the sport. The GBA expressed appreciation to the headmaster and headmistress and physical education teachers of the two schools for embracing the project and getting the students involved. The association also singled out Lindley Langhorn of the Physical Education Department for arranging the two schools to benefit from the project. Shuttle Time is the first such program to be hosted in Guyana, and it came to fruition following Guyana Badminton Association President Gokan Ramdani making representation at the World Federation AGM in Gold Coast, Australia in May 2017. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, Newsroom.gy, our Facebook page and Instagram. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.